So a little about us first. We were established in 1944. That was actually about 13 years before the city of Pacifica was established. I mention that because our service area is primarily within the boundaries of the city of Pacifica. We operate a potable water distribution system that serves approximately 40,000 permanent residents, again primarily but not exclusively within the boundaries of the city. And we've got a total district staff of about 26 people. Because this talk is primarily about the operations group of the district, I went ahead and included this slide, and I think its relevance should become clear later on in the presentation. But you can see that when all said and done, within our operations division, we have a total of 15 people. That includes the general manager. And, well, you can read, we got 7 utility workers for a total of budgeted staff of 15 people. So, what led us to put our focus and energy into becoming a learning community? Really, what has happened at the North Coast County Water District is that we've already experienced the baby boomer and succession planning and workforce development crisis, by virtue of the fact that by 2004, we had lost 78% of the operations group in that last 10 years. And that included general managers, project managers, the superintendent of operations, supervisors, utility workers. We had a bunch of people that left. And really what made things really bad about that was the existing corporate culture that we had, that no one shares any information or knowledge about any critical components in the distribution system, because that was seen as a means of maintaining job security. You know, so if you could keep information under your hat, you had a job for as long as you cared to. That was the attitude, and it had always been that way, oddly enough. So in 2005, a new management team was put in place for the district, and you know what, we had problems. I mean, projects were years and years behind schedule, bond monies remained unspent, employee morale was very low, motivation was very low, and with that said, the district's board was more than a little bummed about the situation. I mean, things weren't very good at all. But we really figured that, you know what, we couldn't do much about it until we actually assessed our own existing capabilities. And so how did we do that? Real simple. We went out into the field and we watched ourselves at work, in action. And that news wasn't really good either, because at the very least it was apparent that we're unpracticed and lacked confidence. So we knew that things were going to have to change. We recognized that, and we figured the best place for that to start was at the top, and if nothing else, that was good because, you know what, that's something that we had immediate control over. We decided we'd have to lead by example, and that we'd need to participate in all aspects of the change on every level and with every individual within the operations group. We knew that we weren't going to get any kind of change to happen until we earned the crew's trust, and we figured about the only way to really get that accomplished is by being inclusive. That would provide the transparency that was so desperately needed between like rank and file and management. We explained to everyone that we wanted to see each and every one of them succeed. You know, we were met with the kind of one-eyed look and skepticism from the crew that was left. And so we recognized that, you know, again, we weren't going to be able to do what we needed to get done in this district, so we went about recruiting and developing change agents from within. Wasn't always the easiest thing in the world to do, but we wanted everyone to recognize that they had a role and an influence in our water district, I mean our collective one. So with that said, we ended up coming up with some new rules. So the way we've always done things, that was out. The new rule was going to be that we're going to look for the absolute best way to get the job accomplished. And the best is the simplest, safest, fastest, easiest way to achieve the highest quality work possible. That was and continues to always be a goal. The next rule that we're going to talk about is the paid to do, not to think. That was the old one. That's out. I want you to picture the scene where you have the general manager turn to the assistant general manager, turn to the supervisor, turn to the lead to tell the guy in the hole what to do next. that was actually the scene that I experienced on my very first leak when I went out. And that was done. We were finished with that. We wanted everybody to think. Because the more eyes and perspectives, really, the better. Because, you know what, we can all be blinded by our disciplines and our roles in life at times. And just having these alternate perspectives and lenses is always, always incredibly helpful. So thinking was encouraged and valued because really it developed problem-solving skills that are really the key precursors to career growth, development, empowerment, and those were all part of our strategic goals from a new management group perspective. Okay, so the next rule that we had was the formal open door policy. The old one pretty much consisted of advertising an open door policy and then making sure that if anyone ever exercised that option, they regretted it. Bottom line, you know. The new one was going to be absolute 0 degrees of separation. If you had a question or a concern or a comment, turn to me and start talking. You know what, I decided the heck with it. I'm done. I'm taking off the tie, I'm dropping the dress shirt, I'm putting on a t-shirt and the work clothes, and I'm going to jump into the hole with these guys. That's where the action is. That's where the management was so desperately needed. And so that was really important. And what that helped with is it provided a real neutral setting for employees who, you know, didn't want to sit there in front of the boss, in front of his desk, in his office, on his turf. You know what, I was out there and you know what, it was just simple back and forth communication and continues to be. And you ended up with a peer review right there on the spot. The next rule is, one too many here, didn't I? Designated rigid roles. Okay, that was another one that got sent out. Really what that thing was all about was that we recognized that cross-training and flexibility was about the only way to operate. I mean, we're a small agency, and there was a lot of work that needed to get done, and so we needed participation, and we needed everybody to be involved, actually, in every aspect of the operation. And this rule actually came when we were about to kick off probably the district's largest in-house earth-moving project that we'd ever done. And so we had the rental equipment, we had the plans in hand, we had everything, but the equipment operator of the district, the one and only guy that operated the backhoe, had really decided, hey, you know what, I want to retire in 2 weeks. So we had no operator. So I decided from that point forward, we're never, never again going to be held hostage by any one person's knowledge.